the constraints of the Regency era. How does a romance plot function when your two leads can barely make eye contact, let alone talk to each other? So I threw in a pumpkin festival, a Taylor Swift playlist, a mad assistant, an even madder goose, and just about anything else I could think of to keep Anne and Wentworth dancing around the point, until finally, Anne Elliott gets her long-deserved happy ending. Listener, I hope you enjoy. Melodie Edwards. P.S. My vote for the best movie adaptation is the ITV 2007 version, in case anyone was wondering. P.P.S. My production editor, in reviewing this manuscript, has made an excellent counter-argument, which is Kieran Hines. 1. She should have kept her flats on. Anne had made a hard rule for herself several years ago, when she thought striding around in her high heels would give her authority, and also maybe calf definition. It did neither. It gave her aching feet and ruined her designer pumps. Louboutins should never be treated like that. So she made a rule. Flat shoes during the day, when she needed to get from her office to the box office to backstage to the lobby in a hurry. Flat shoes in the evening, right before the performance, when the whirlwind of last-minute panics, missing props, drunk VIP guests, and ancient ushers losing their hearing aids down a seat back kept her running. And only after that, maybe sometime around the third act, would she nip back to her office, touch up her makeup, slip into her cocktail dress, and swap her flats for heels. Then she'd be poised and ready in the lobby by last curtain call, ready to greet patrons and ready to make her speech as executive director of the Elysium Theater Festival, while champagne flutes circulated. This evening she had been lulled into a false sense of security. Everything had been running so smoothly. And now, and she really could not believe she was dealing with this shit, she was running from her office to backstage, her narrow-skirted dress and high heels cutting short each stride, while her assistant, Emmy, rushed along beside her, talking a mile a minute, trying to explain why their lead actress was suddenly convinced her dressing room was haunted, barely breaking a sweat in her ballet flats. Smart girl. And then, after last night's ghost tour, they took her to the Angel Inn for lunch, and you know how they like to take tourists down into the cellar and show them the original old beams with the musket ball scars, and talk about the ghost of Captain Butler who died there. And after that, they took her to Fort George, where they were doing historical battle reenactments for the afternoon. Anne grimaced. 2 reports of upset school trips at the fort, and now this. No one freaks out when they go to Colonial Williamsburg. Why can't we make that our model? The town of Niagara-on-the-Lake, of which the Elysium Theater Festival was the centerpiece, sat wedged between the shores of Lake Ontario and the mouth of the Niagara River, and downstream from the famous Niagara Falls. Its character was a confusing mix of year-round small-town life and seasonal leisure playground. It boasted several spas, a golf course, boutique shopping, romantic hotels, and endless hectares of surrounding wineries. It was also home to multi-generational farmers and small business owners, a tractor festival, a beloved Main Street preserved from the last century, and miles of hiking trails frequented by the locals. It had been an early site for European pioneers settling in the New World, and had many confusing remnants from its journey through the 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries, not cleared away as they are in modern cities, but still standing as the local pub or courthouse or military graveyard. The town was nestled up as close as possible to the American border, and had been the site of the infamous and bloody War of 1812. Both Fort Niagara on the American side and Fort George on the Canadian side, once manned by the British, still stood, stone and wood and grass edifices forever peering tiredly across the river at their old adversaries. That the Historical Society wanted to use this living history to enliven the town was commendable. That they were terrifying tourists and visiting actors was less than lovely. It was just like their idea 2 years ago.